here's the scariest scenario with education in America today. You're an entrepreneur and you're passionate about it, and you can't breathe if you don't do it. And you're okay if you make $80,000 a year selling pillows, or you go and build Uber, like and your parents make you take on debt to go to a shitty college because they want to feel good that you went to college to their other friends. That to me is scary as fuck.
So is college worth it? Today we're going to hear from 3 great investors and 3 great businessmen as to if they think college is worth it nowadays. As times have changed, really a more technological age has led to more traditional ways of learning to not be as significant as they have been before. And today we're going to hear from Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, and Gary Vaynerchuk on what they think about entrepreneurship, what they think about education, and what they think about the whole college process and college debt. Before we do that, I want to ask you guys to please drop a like on this video if you find it useful. My name is Chase, and welcome back to Intelligent Money Investing. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get right into the clip.
What do we think about?
Yeah, business schools and all that.
Business schools and all that.
Yeah. I didn't catch the last one.
They're better.
Oh, he's challenging me to a round of bridge. Okay. I went to 3 business schools, and at each, I found a teacher or two. I went to one specifically to get a given teacher, but each one of them I found a teacher or two that I really got a lot out of. So we're not anti-business school here at all. We do think that the priesthood, say 30 years ago, for example, in terms of, or 40 years ago, in terms of efficient market theory and everything, they strayed pretty far, in our view, from the reality of investing. And I would rather have a person, if I could hire somebody among the top 5 graduates of number 1, 2, or 3 of the business schools, and my choice was somebody that had was bright, but had chapter 8 of The Intelligent Investor. Absolutely, it just was natural to them. They had it in their bones, basically. I take the person from chapter 8. This is not, what we do is not a complicated business. It's got to be a disciplined business, but it does not require a super high IQ or anything of the sort. There are a few fundamentals that are incredibly important, and you do have to understand accounting, and it helps to get out and talk to consumers and start thinking like a consumer in many ways in certain industries and all of that. But it just doesn't require advanced learning. And I certainly, I didn't want to go to college, so I don't know whether I would have done better or worse if I'd just quit after high school, and read the books I read and all of that. I think that if you run into a few great teachers and they really change the way you see the world to some degree, you're lucky, and you can find them in academia, and you can find them in ordinary life. And I've been extraordinarily lucky in having great teachers, including Charlie. I mean, Charlie's been a wonderful teacher. And any place you can find somebody that gives you insights into things you didn't understand before, maybe makes you a better person than you would have been before, that's very lucky, and you want to make the most of it. If you can find it in academia, make the most of it, and if you can find it in the rest of your life, make the most of it. Charlie?
Well, when you found Ben Graham, he was unconventional, and he was very smart. And of course, that was very attractive to you. And then when you found out it worked and you could make a lot of money while sitting on your ass, of course, you were an instant convert. And so
It still appeals to me, actually. I mean,
But the world changed. Before he died, Ben Graham recognized that the exact way he sought undervalued companies wouldn't necessarily work for all times under all conditions. And that's certainly the way it worked for us. We gradually morphed into trying to buy the better companies when they were underpriced instead of the lousy companies when they were underpriced. And of course that worked pretty well for us. And Ben Graham, he outlived the game that he played personally most of the time. He lived to see most of it fade away. I mean, just to find some company that's selling for 1/3 of its working capital and figure out it could easily be liquidated and distribute $3 for every dollar of market price. Lots of luck if you can find those in the present markets. And if you can find them, they're so small that Berkshire wouldn't find them of any use anyway. So we've had to learn a different game, and that's a lesson for all the young people in the room. If you're going to live a long time, you have to keep learning.
yeah.
What you formerly knew is never enough. So if you don't learn to constantly revise your earlier conclusions and get better ones, why, I always use the same metaphor. You're like a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest.
Yeah. If anybody has suggestions for another metaphor, send them to me. Graham, incidentally, one point, important point, Graham was not scalable. I mean, you could not do with really big money. And when I worked for Graham Newman Corp., here he was, the dean of all analysts, and, you know, he was an intellect above all others around that time. But the investment fund was $6 million, and the partnership that worked in tandem with the investment company also had about $6 million in it. So we had $12 million we were working with. Now you can make adjustments for inflation, but and everything. But it was just a tiny amount. It wasn't really scalable. And the truth is, Graham didn't care because he really wasn't interested in making a lot of money for himself. So it had no reason to want to find something that could go on and become larger and larger. So the utility of Chapter 8 in terms of looking at stocks as a business is of enormous value. The utility of Chapter 20 about a margin of safety is of enormous value. But that's not complicated stuff. Yeah.
I finally figured out why the teachers of corporate finance often teach a lot of stuff that's wrong. When I had some eye troubles very early in life, I consulted a very famous eye doctor. And I realized that his place of business was doing a totally obsolete cataract operation. They were still cutting with a knife after better procedures had been invented. And I said, why are you in a great medical school performing absolute obsolete operations? He said, Charlie, it's such a wonderful operation to teach. Well, that's what happens in corporate finance. They get these formulas, and it's a fine teaching experience. You give them the formula, you present the problem, they use the formula. You get a real feeling of worthwhile activity. There's only one trouble, it's all balderdash.
Yeah, whenever you hear a theory described as elegant, watch out.
Right.
So we've now heard from Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger. They both seem kind of indifferent on the whole college process. In my estimation, Warren Buffett would think that getting an MBA or going to high-level finance colleges is nice for like the accounting knowledge, but really the extent of the utility of spending many, many years getting an education and higher education and the amount of money you put into it really isn't going to be worthwhile in the long run. He was mostly talking about his experience with Ben Graham, one of the best kind of investing teachers that Warren Buffett has touted for a very, very long time, who wrote the book, The Intelligent Investor. I'm going to leave a link to that book on Amazon down in the description below. I definitely suggest reading it. It's one of the books that I read, and I think it's really helped my investing philosophy, and it's Warren Buffett's top investing book, as you guys can see there. But I really think that these guys would believe that you're more serviced to kind of be out there getting more experience, getting more knowledge in the workplace than you would be from some professor who maybe may or may not still be in the industry, may or may not be able to teach you things that are relevant to your current time. And I really think that's what Charlie Munger's story at the end there kind of came down to. Now we're going to see what Gary Vaynerchuk has to say from more of an entrepreneurship standpoint rather than a corporate finance investing type standpoint. I hope you guys enjoy this. Remember, hit that thumbs up button if you're enjoying. Definitely consider subscribing, and I will leave you guys with this last clip. And I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I will see you in the next one.
Yeah. School's broken in America. Random quick take. It's so fucking broken that I can't breathe. Like, it's so broken. Does anybody understand the world we actually live in?
Yes. Well, I think college is the worst thing in the world. That kids can't afford to go to college.
If you look,
you need to start a college. You need to start a free college. I think that would probably be your legacy. I'm going to say it now.
I'm definitely. You know, it's funny when you said 70. I'm like, I'm going to fuck up college. It ran through my mind. Here's what I would say.
You didn't graduate, or you did?
Yes, I did. But I went to Mount Ida College. Like, I majored.
So what's wrong with that?
What's wrong with it? Literally, the mic that we're talking into could get admitted to. Like, there's like, literally, if you're dead people can get into Mount Ida College. Actually, Mount Ida College went out of business recently. This is a fun fact. Literally went out of business after 100 plus 200 years. I think UMass Amherst like absorbed it. What's wrong with it? I played Madden for 98% of my college experience.
And you got an A in Madden, so that's good. I went to Emerson College. I showed up the day before with my transcripts. They let me in. They said, what do you want to major in? I said, makeup. They said, okay. I said, do you have a makeup program? They said, no. I said, all right, I'll make it up. And I went to Emerson. Now you can't get into Emerson.
I know.
Now it's a tough school.
Yeah, you know, honestly, like...
So don't be embarrassed by...
Embarrassed?
Okay, fine.
Nobody propagandas it more than me. I post my report card with a 247 out of 251. The only thing I'm proud of in my life is that I'm a shit student. That I fucking spit in the face of the system when nobody else was doing it back then.
But it is not going to work for all the other kids that are listening out there. It's your journey. It's not going to be someone else's journey.
That's right. And the clarity that I always want to say about college is like, look, if you want to work at Goldman Sachs, you better get good ass grades, and you better go to like Wharton, and you better go to Harvard. Like, you have to know yourself and know what you want. If you're an entrepreneur,
right?
If you truly are, here's the scariest scenario with education in America today. You're an entrepreneur and you're passionate about it, and you can't breathe if you don't do it. And you're okay if you make $80,000 a year selling pillows, or you go and build an Uber. Like, and your parents make you take on debt to go to a shitty college because they want to feel good that you went to college to their other friends. That, to me, is scary as fuck.
But everyone has different stories and different journeys. See this girl right here?
Yes.
She, when I left Bobby Brown Cosmetics, I went to the Apple store.
Yes.
I had 3 hours of work there. She was such a rock star.
Yes.
I hired her. She's gone to a 2-year college.
Yes.
I don't know where you would have been if I didn't like pick you up that day.
She would be at VaynerMedia running the company.
Well, she now is like everything and does all of our content.
That's right.
Yeah.
Listen, I mean, D-Rock homeschooled, like, I don't know where to, like it's all the same shit. Tyler's a dope. He got into Penn State.
Tyler is not.
Guys,
Tyler graduated from Montclair High.
Yeah, but he's a dope. I mean, come on. Like, we're listen, every winner that I like, dope. I'm the biggest dope of them all. Like, my definition, like, the reality is the world changed. College was built to create workers for an environment that was much more mapped to 1959, and that's wonderful, and it was a great era, and mazel tov, and all good, but guess what? If you're taking on debt to go to college today, unless you're going to a top 3% school, you're in deep fucking shit.
So why can't we have a college that the kids are actually entrepreneurs the whole time?
They're going to. All of this is going to happen.
But then what? I think you and Richard Baker have to do that together.
I think people should stop telling people what to do. You should do it.
No, no. This is more of a Gary thing. I'm sorry. No.
I think what's actually happening is it's already happening without people realizing it. Meaning, one of the things that I'm most excited about, the content that I put out, especially on Instagram, because it skews young, at least for now. It's obviously aging up quickly, which is amazing. You're changing people's thought. I was on a FaceTime with a woman in India yesterday on Snapchat because, Tyler, she won it? Like, what happened? Or did I see her on Twitter? What happened?
Instagram, she put up the best caption. We chose it.
She won. I was on a 7-minute FaceTime yesterday with a woman who was sitting in India telling me that she has to decide between going to Australia for school or staying in India for 2 more years because she wants to get an Indian citizenship because she's got a Pakistani citizenship and she wants to be discriminated against a little less. It was really powerful, as you can imagine. And I'm sitting there, I'm just thinking about all these things. I'm like, we live in a world where I'm in a car right now talking on FaceTime through Snapchat with a young woman in India where my words are about to impact her making a life decision. You want to talk about...
It's pretty crazy.
It's super
insane.
crazy. Nobody's making that... Like, that's not something Star Trek or Star Wars thought about when they were making up what the world would look like in 2018. They thought about flying cars. They fucked up. But all this other internet stuff, we didn't know. And so the ground rules of our society are changing remarkably.